President Trump made a pretty shocking claim last week. He said China is attempting to interfere in our upcoming 2018 election. They do not want me or us to win. Has DHS seen attempts by China to interfere in U.S. elections?
So this is where, I always have to pause and make sure we're talking about the same thing.
Sure.
So there's probably two, some people say three, but at least two categories that we're worried about. One is the direct attacks on election infrastructure. That is where DHS has the lead. Mm-hmm. The other is this more nefarious, frankly, but also nebulous area of foreign influence. That can be done through state spokesmen in a foreign country. That can be done through state-run media. In Russia, that could include RT and Sputnik. And in the case of China, it's part of a more holistic approach to influence the American public in favor of China. Russia is more, at the moment, focused on sowing discord on all sides, and through that chaos, hoping to promote their own policies. Mm. So it's slightly different. China's playing perhaps a longer game, a more holistic game. Russia's being pretty noisy about it right now in terms of not just their use of state-run media, but also what we attribute to be social media personas.
But respectfully, in the past 2 years, as we've talked about election interference, we usually hear that referred to in the context, or when we talk about, when we talk about election interference, we usually hear that from intelligence officials in reference to Russia's activities, in reference to cyber activities. Are we seeing those types of things? There's a difference between an attempted hack on a political organization, for example, and planting, a favorable ad in a local newspaper or something like that, or broadcasting from a propaganda channel. Are we seeing the same sort of cyber interference from China?
So I'd answer that two ways. One, we currently have no indication that a foreign adversary intends to disrupt our election infrastructure. But I will immediately follow that with, this is a point in time. We know they have the capability and we know they have the will. So we're constantly on alert to watch. But what we see with China right now are the influence campaigns, the more traditional, long-standing, holistic influence campaigns.
Why does the White House seem to have such a hard time focusing on Russia, which is where the intelligence community says the major threat is?
I think the president's been clear. I've been clear. The intel community has been clear. We're all support the intel community assessment from 2017. And actually, I would also say to those in the audience, it's worth rereading. There's a lot in there that is still very relevant today, including an entire annex in that case on Russian propaganda and how they actually use state-sponsored media and others to try to influence and sow discord in our society. Mm-hmm. But I think we've all been clear. The ICA is pretty clear with respect to interference attempts in the 2016 election by Russians.
Yes, but does it make your job harder? Does it make it harder for DHS to get local election officials on board to take action on election security when the president refers to the Russia investigation, Russian interference as a hoax, as he has? So
when you say Russian investigation, which...
The investigation into Russian interference.
Oh, okay. So I think the ICA, we have a conclusion on 2016. What we're working on now, day by day, is making sure that we update state and locals on anything we see that changes. So no, I don't think so, because I think that information sharing partnership is there. So we've been clear in the past. Now we're looking at today and moving forward. But always, I want to stress the capability and will is there. So we would all be foolish if I say today that we don't see any indication to pretend or assume that we won't see one tomorrow. We have to be ready and prepared.